Hello and welcome to Ralph Henderson 2176. I had to put the reverb back in there.
The 24th half century.
Something like that. So today we're going to do some what they call OOPARTS, which is out-of-place artifacts. Or at least strange history, things like that. I think OOPARTS is probably better.
OOPARTS sounds good.
Yeah. But, so long story short, there's things that don't match. Now, obviously, our history is very linear. It's, in a lot of ways, it's kind of what we've pieced together the best we can. And there's some things that just don't fit with what we know, or at least what's written down.
Yeah.
So my first one jumped right into the gravy ones. This one is the Baghdad Batteries. So the Baghdad Batteries, they found a pot, and when they opened it up, inside of it was an iron and copper rod that fit into each other, or slid through each other, basically. And when you put it all together and filled it up with an acidic compound, it's a fully functional battery. There was acidic residue in there that had been long drained and rotted, but there was still residue on the rods that you could check and see that it was acidic. So at one time, somebody out there made a battery. Now that means two things. A, that they made the battery, and B, that it was most likely functional and did something.
Yeah, that means they had to have made something that the battery worked on too, right?
Yeah. Unless it was like the death penalty or, hey, come here and touch this. Look what I made. But so
hold this in your hand.
Yeah, so as far as electricity works, two different types of conductors in an acidic compound either stores or transfers electrons.
Yeah.
And so that's what they built, and these things are old. I mean, really old.
Well, when the young Egyptians had toys, I mean, what did they put in them?
Yeah, apparently, because they have little toys of planes, which is weird.
Yeah, and this isn't like a double A, right? This is like a triple D or something.
Oh yeah, they're
I'm
huge.
sure
They're big. They're big. So it wasn't on like a little toy truck, but
no, this is like
it was something bigger. All right, the next one, and this one's a weird one, is the Oman Reactors.
Okay, is this the one that looks like they're like nuclear reactors?
Yeah. So they say that they're a natural reactor. They're like perfectly designed, like we would design them now. They have like runoff areas. They have all these things that are kind of built into this mountain. There's 16 sites.
Really?
Yeah. So so when you do
wait, so people are saying this is a natural formation, but it's like in 16 different places?
60 different places around the same location.
Yeah, but still.
So
someone made that. I'm just saying.
So 90% of the uranium is uranium-238. Okay, and then a very small amount of it is 234. And this is the weird part. So 235 is kind of like the activator. Okay. Once it gets over 1%, its ability to become hot, as they say, is there. It can't become hot less than that.
And where's this at?
In Okla, Africa.
Africa.
So the weird thing is that the 235 is extremely low levels. And then there's other byproducts that it has been hot and has actually discharged itself. Now, mind you, it's really complicated for us to do this. I mean, we have to go through all these processes and everything to purify and make enriched uranium. I mean, we've heard this, right?
Yeah.
And that's because they have to get everything exactly perfect. And yet here's 16 sites in the same that had everything exactly perfect enough to generate power.
Did they find skeletons of ancient African hippies that were blocking the road to these reactors?
Probably, yeah.
I'm just curious.
The big dumbbell thing out there on the back of a truck?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen that before out here. So the next one is the Libyan desert glass. Okay. This one a lot of people know. So the Egyptians had these glass stones and everything that they wore in things. And so when they checked on them to find out how they made this glass, not only did they find out that it was a very hard thing to make from this kind of sand that they have, but it was also radioactive.
Really?
Yeah, very small amounts of radioactive isotopes, but it had it. So they said in order to make it you would have to heat silica sand to 1700 centigrade.
Wow.
So they're like, well, maybe lightning struck. What kind of lightning bolt are you seeing, man? Because that's way up there. Stuff. I mean, I'm sure that's possible, but wow.
Maybe they got material from Africa and these from the
nuclear. Yeah.
Hey,
so
you guys make us some glass?
That's right. So I guess the way they discovered it is, and this is in the 1800s, but they were riding in the area and they felt crunchy stuff under their wheels.
Really?
Yes, they had people going out there and they dug up and found these, and they're big. Some of them are huge, but that was the same material that was used in the Egyptian jewelry. So we actually have found a bunch more of them since, which is weird.
Yeah.
And they're all over the place in a desert. So.
Yeah. How big are the chunks?
Well, some of them are like a foot, some of them bigger, some of them smaller.
Okay. I'm not saying you know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Is it possible it's some sort of meteorite or something? That maybe it's not from here? Like maybe it...
Well, it has all the properties of the silica.
Well, I'm just saying, if you had... This is totally off the top of my head, guys, but if you had something that was made of that kind of material and it went through the atmosphere coming down superheated like that, you think maybe it would come down as a glass ball?
It could, but once again, it's silica sand. I mean, we can produce it now. We have the technology to do that.
Yeah.
And we could take the sand that's there and do it. So maybe there was a meteor that landed that was like all boiling and everything and melted everything around it.
Maybe it's a space silica sand.
Space silica sand,
like
that's right.
Like a space peanut from Joe Dirt.
But, yeah, so that's just weird. I mean...
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's unusual. And it's a large area, too.
And just the ability to do these things doesn't fit with history as we know it.
No doubt
about
it. And so they would have to be something outside of what we think we know.
Yeah. All of these sound like we're doing an episode of Ancient Aliens.
I know.
We'll talk about this in a moment, I'm sure.
I need to have the hair.
Yeah.
So the Nazca Lines is the next one. This one's actually pretty popular.
Yes.
As
seen on like Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of shapes. There's animals. There's flowers and yeah.
The balloons. Yeah.
Yeah, and so
I got a doggy.
the weirdest thing is that a lot of them, not a lot of them, I guess, but several of them are only fully visible either up on top of a mountain or in the sky.
Yeah, and that's what I understand about these is that most of them were discovered once we had flight. They're flying down there.
Yeah, now you fly over it and all of a sudden...
There's a big eagle or a dragon on the ground.
Yeah, and they knew that there were smaller Nazca Lines. That's what's weird about this is that there's all sorts of different things, and we've discovered more of them as we've gone. They just made another discovery. It looks like a trident. It's an area that has been blocked off, and the water broke through it. So when you came through with the boat, you actually go around the corner, and up in the mountain, there's a big, giant trident. Or at least what looks like a trident.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, on the thing I was watching, they said, well, you'll never believe what it is. And I was like, it's a trident. I don't know how I called that one, but no, I'm thinking, if you're making things for people to see, you made one thing for the sky, and you have something on the side of a mountain that's from the ocean. A trident, actually. A trident fits
pretty good.
with mythology and such.
Fits really well.
So that's one that's just weird. So I've heard several theories on how they made them. Some of them, they said that they walked single file and drug their feet. Other ones said that they took the top layer of soil off because it's kind of like Last Jedi there, where they had the salt.
The salt
and underneath it was red.
Yeah.
So I guess it has like kind of volcanic rock on the top, and they dug it down, and it's white underneath, and so it makes those things stick out.
Did it like split the fan base when they made it? Sorry, getting off subject. Off subject alert.
Right. Okay, so this one's really weird. Okay, so I'll read this one to you, but this is from ancient Indian texts, the Mahabharata, I think, and it's from
sounds legit.
It's from Drona Parva, and it's talking about a war that they had.
Okay.
So I'll read a couple of the spots. It says, a single projectile charged with all the power of the universe, an incandescent column of smoke and flame as bright as 1,000 suns rose in its splendor. A perpendicular explosion with its billowing smoke clouds, the clouds of smoke rising after its first explosion formed into expanding round circles like opening a giant parasol. It was an unknown weapon, an iron thunderbolt, a gigantic messenger of death, which reduced to ashes the entire race of the Vrishnas and the Aknas. And I am glad I'm not naming these things.
I'm going to cut you off for a second. Sounds like an atom bomb.
Yeah, it does.
Okay,
ready?
Keep going.
The corpses were so burned as to be unrecognizable. The hair and nails fell out. Pottery broke without apparent cause, and the birds turned white. After a few hours, all foodstuffs were infected, and to escape from this fire, the soldiers threw themselves in the streams to wash themselves and their equipment. Yeah. Sounds like radioactivity, right?
Sounds like a nuclear blast.
Sounds like an atom bomb.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were open up like a parasol too, I mean, you think of a mushroom cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is written a very long time ago. So, I'll throw this out there just real quick. Yeah. We're reading it as we've translated it, which is probably a little bit wrong. It might even be more in your face.
I'm picturing a guy with a nuclear warhead on the end of his spear. Is what I'm.
Yeah.
I got a really good one. Wait till they get this one.
You know,
I did too.
That's right. I was going to say, the bad thing is it's close to you. But, yeah, when you look at this, you have to ask yourself, what else would have this effect? Let's say that they really threw a spear out there that had, like, maybe, I don't know, something that could burn on the end of it, like gasoline.
Yeah, like a napalm spear.
Yeah. Would it reduce everyone to ash and birds turning white in the sky? And
No. That's,
would you and your food just burn where you need to jump in the water and keep yourself from burning? That right there sounds like radioactivity.
yeah, that sounds like radioactivity, big time.
Yeah. Talk about out of place.
Yeah, very out of place.
So the next one is the Egyptian UFOs.
It's aliens.
Aliens.
Aliens, man.
So the Egyptian UFOs, so they had a section of the pyramid. I don't know which pyramid. We'll have to probably post that up. But a section broke off, and what was underneath was another set of inscriptions and hieroglyphics.
I'm gonna say it's probably not the three main pyramids we think of, because I don't think there was writing in those, except for in the Great Pyramid there was one inscription down in the basement or something.
Yeah, it said Khufu's, right?
Yeah, that said whose it was.
And that's pretty much it. There's
very likely that was falsified.
in ink that can't be traced with no carving, which is very unusual for that area.
Yeah.
Everything is carved and painted. So yeah, I would definitely, I would guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it has a thing that appears to be, and we'll put up a picture of it here. But it appears to be a plane, appears to be like some sort of flying disc UFO type thing. And then in another inscription in another spot in the same pyramid, there is one that looks just like your 50s and your 40s and 50s UFO with the spinning base and all that. So
is there a Mickey Mouse head in there too?
there should be. I don't know, Disney hadn't bought it yet.
Oh yeah.
They haven't bought the Mayans yet either. That's good.
They own the aliens too now. The aliens are here and they're like, "Hey, watch our movies."
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. So that's the ones that I got so far.
Okay, yeah, no, this is fascinating stuff. And we were talking, most of these he did the research on, and I'm the reactor, not the nuclear reactor, but the reactor. And one thing we were talking about is there's a lot of things out there that don't fit history, and when they don't fit history, immediately everyone assumes aliens, time travel.
That's right.
Those are the two things.
But there's a third option.
We have number 3, that maybe known history is wrong.
Yeah,
that's
right.
There's, just because there's something advanced back then, we have other, and I'm not advocating for any of these stories, but we have other theories out there, like there used to be an ancient, highly technical civilization like Atlantis, and we could be looking at something like that. I'm not saying, I believe in Atlantis and all that, but I also don't know that it's not true either. There's a lot of things that talked about it. People will read history and it's like, oh yeah, this happened. Oh, that one seems ridiculous. This. Well, maybe that one happened too. If this is part of history.
And this is the thing. They've tried to make history linear.
Yeah.
Like the whole world is going, and all of a sudden everyone in the whole world levels up because it's the Bronze Age. Now we've made bronze. But what if the Bronze Age happened here, and then other people discovered it in another location?
Yeah, this guy's out here with stone tools, and that guy goes, "I don't like the stone tool guy," and shoots a nuke.
Yeah. Yeah, it opens up like a parasol, and they're like,
and then these guys all go nuclear and become the X-Men.
That's right.
So.
Or Spider-Man, or gamma radiation turned into the Hulk, something like that.
Yeah.
But so what they've done is they've tried to make everything extremely linear, but everyone has kind of advanced in different levels.
Yeah.
At different times.
Well,
so it's not as linear as one would think.
This is off subject, but on subject at the same time. I'd have to look into more of the details of this, but they had, what do you call it? The molten lava when it's all dried.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Either way, they dug into this, and underneath a bunch of it, they found a person, a skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the information you have. And it's funny that people with different viewpoints totally took this in different ways. Because they did the potassium argon dating. Turns out this is millions and millions of years, and there's a guy under it. So like the young Earth Christians go, well, that proves potassium argon dating doesn't work because there's a guy under there.
Mm-hmm.
Your creationists, like your Hindus and such, go, well, that just proves that man was here from the beginning and he's millions of years old. And your more atheistic type thinkers go, maybe this guy dug underneath there somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So
3 different answers.
all 3 different answers
Same
based
evidence.
on the same evidence to make it fit your ideology.
Mm-hmm.
And how much of history is that?
Oh, I'm sure a lot of
How
it.
much of it is, this is what I think happened, bendy, 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 bendy. Look, now it fits what I believe.
Yeah, there's a story of a king, and he was kind of a tyrant. His son couldn't wait to take over the throne, and everyone else was the same way. They go on a hunting trip, and this is actually historical in England. He shoots an arrow, and the red hand of the devil comes out, grabs the arrow, and sticks it in the king's back. Now, I'm going to make a guess. I'm just going to put that out there.
It might be the easier explanation.
The easier explanation is that the son wanted the throne and shot him with an arrow.
Dad, what's that up there? Oh!
What are you doing?
Did you see the devil?
That's right. I mean, let's put it a different way. Let's say that he accidentally killed his dad. Okay. He was just a really, really bad archer. Shoots his dad in the back. Says, well, I'm the king. If anybody tells anybody, I'll have you executed.
It could be that, or, no, I'm really good. You guys know I'm good, right? Yeah, the devil must have grabbed that and done it. There's no way. How was that?
That's right. He turned around.
Shot?
You saw it, right?
You saw it, right? I mean, I was aiming at the elephant over there.
Yeah, and so that's actually in history.
That the red hand of
That
the
the
devil,
red hand of the devil came out and grabbed this arrow
It was
and
like,
stuck it in the king's back.
I'm just picturing that.
Yeah.
What is that, Amazon Women on the Moon?
Yeah.
He grabs the
Invisible
dart and
Man.
goes,
Okay, if you have sidetrack alert.
sidetrack.
Okay, so if you haven't seen the movie, what it is, the Invisible Man is not really invisible, but he thinks he is.
Yes.
And so he goes to a bar and he's screwing with everybody, and they're like, just ignore him, he'll go away. So somebody goes to throw a dart and he grabs it and goes, woo, you know. Then the cops come in and arrest him because he's naked.
Hey! Here comes the Invisible Man again.
Now, what's all this? Here he is, officer. Take it easy with him.
No, we're gonna watch this clip. We're gonna watch this clip, and since we're on, we're not on Mandela's anymore. But if we were, it won't really have been a dart. It will.
Yeah, I know.
It will have been a BB gun, and he wasn't naked. He was actually wearing a Tarzan outfit.
I know. It's strange.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for this time. This is something new, so...
Something new. What do you call it again?
This is OOPARTS, Out of Place
OOPARTS.
Artifacts.
Parts of the OO.
That's right. OOPARTS.
Ooh.
But, so this is our first one of this. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments.
If you know of some that we don't know of, heck, put it in there. We'll look it up.
Yeah, we'll look it up, put it on here, and see what you think, and
Like, subscribe, tell your friends,
all that kind of
tell
stuff.
your enemies. You think we're great? Tell your friends. You think we suck? Tell your enemies.
That's right.
Hey, this is really good and entertaining.
That's right. You curse them with us, right? So that's it for today, and have a good one.
Bye.
Ralph Henderson, 2176. See ya.